Secretary of State and Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo joins us now. Secretary, the U.S. is trying to broker ceasefires around the world right now between Israel and Hamas, of course, between Russia and Ukraine. It is difficult work, but there seems to be a breakthrough here with India and Pakistan, at least, notwithstanding reports we've been getting in the last hour that there has been some sort of missile activity in the Indian city of Jammu. But the Pakistani Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, just saying now we thank President Trump for his leadership. So this is good news, it would seem, on the face of it at least.
Yes, good morning. It's indeed good news. The risk that this got out of hand continued to escalate and move towards something when two nuclear powers are going at it is always very real. And so the fact that there's been this announcement of a ceasefire is important. You know this, Jonathan. It's difficult to enforce these things. I hope that the missiles or the drones that we just read about having passed in the last hours post-ceasefire were just stray voltage. That is, the militaries didn't get the message, and that indeed we have a sustainable model and talks between the two. They've been going at it for an awfully long time, at least since 1947. And if we've put this latest flare-up to bed, it's a good thing for the world, while we have two other wars that are still actively engaged in that also need to come to rest.
Yeah, and let's talk about one of those, Mr. Secretary, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Now, European leaders met with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine overnight, our time. They are pushing for this 30-day ceasefire now. Does that put significant pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin? That's clearly what it's designed to do, but will that work?
I hope it does, but I must say I'm not optimistic. I have not seen any evidence that Vladimir Putin has any intention to let this go, to say I've done my damage to my own country included, and find peace. I've seen no evidence that he is looking for an exit ramp or a peaceful exit. And the West needs to prevail in this conflict. Europe needs to do its part. I'm glad they're engaged and leading. But in the end, there's going to have to be pressure applied against Vladimir Putin to convince him that the cost of continuing this conflict far exceeds its benefits. I think it does, but he doesn't see it that way.
The President Trump and members of his administration have said that the U.S. might possibly just walk away if a deal isn't done soon. Is that a good move?
Well, you can stop being part of the conversation directly, but you can't walk away from this conflict. There are still civilians being killed in Ukraine. It's impacting the American economy. You have the Chinese and the North Koreans backing the Russians here. This is a global geopolitical challenge, and one that the United States has a deep interest in, not sending our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, but in bringing peace on terms that demonstrate that the West is resolved and that we're not going to let Vladimir Putin or any dictator steal land through aggression.
And, Mr. Secretary, if I could just turn to the U.S. and Iran quickly before I let you go. More nuclear talks expected this week. Do you expect progress in those talks, significant progress?
I don't see a path to convincing the Ayatollah to give up his nuclear weapons. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I worked to do this for the North Koreans. We were unsuccessful there. There were other places we made more progress, especially on the Iran file, by putting pressure on them. But to think for a moment that you can allow the Iranians to enrich or allow them to continue to build their missile program or give them money and wealth through sanctions relief, and they're going to behave like a normal nation and not still threaten to assassinate our president and to kill more Americans, I think that's not likely to happen. I think it's a bit foolish to expect it to happen. And so I'm fine with the conversations and the negotiations. But the way to stop war is through strength and power and determination. It's the only thing the Ayatollah understands.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, it is always a pleasure and an education to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Pompeo.